guys, JC Smith here. Today we got a pretty busy day. You know, no different from any other day, of course. Today right now we're going to get some more firewood. I'm not going to show you that crap because you guys got to be bored out of your skull seeing that same old crap. We're going to go get some firewood, head back. We're going to move the F550 frame. I'm going to move it out of the way. I'm going to let it cure for probably, at least a few more days. I might let it sit for at least two more days, maybe more. I'm not sure yet. And I've got a Lincoln Navigator. I think it's an 05 or 06, and I don't remember now. I bought it for my wife to drive as her daily driver, but she didn't like it. Did you?
No.
So it has been sitting around, getting older, and not doing anybody any good. It's been sitting so long that actually one of the brake lines rusted through. So I'm gonna bring it around to the garage, and we're going to fix the brake line. And it also needs, at the very minimum, it needs timing chain tensioner, because when you start it, it rattles really good. If you guys aren't familiar with the 543 valve and the timing tensioner problem and all that, I will do a video and let you guys listen to it when it starts, because it sounds horrible. It really sounds like the motor's coming apart, but it's not. So we're going to do that. Oh, and before I do that, I need to get your van in. My wife's van is a 2011. It's a Chrysler Town and Country minivan. And we were coming back from our property in Pennsylvania, and the air conditioning just didn't seem to be as cool as it once was. And yesterday we went to go pick up our side of beef, and well, needless to say, it wasn't cold at all. The AC compressor wouldn't even turn on, so I think we've lost our charge. We're into August now. I'll probably vacuum that thing down, see how long it holds a vacuum, and I'll charge it up. If it's a small leak, I'm probably not going to fool with it this year. I'll probably wait till spring and deal with it again, because I got so much going on. I just need to quick get it charged and see how long it lasts. If it'll last the rest of the summer, that'll be alright with me, and it probably should. I'll have to look and see. I don't have a scale, and I buy a 20-pound bottle of 134A, so I charge it by ambient temperature. So I use the ambient temperature and basically a chart or a gauge that will tell you what your pressures need to be based on the temperature of the day. I'm not telling you to do this, so don't do what I'm going to do. Figure it out right, get a scale, do it correctly, put in the right charge. That's what you need to do. Don't do what I'm going to do. But this will work good enough. So we're going to go get our firewood, get back, get that stuff moved, and we'll do the air conditioner real quick so that she has air again. For how long, we don't know. And then we'll get on that Lincoln. Alright, I'll bring it back when I'm ready to do some work. Well, it is the next day, and that paint is smoother than a fresh jar of Skippy. Very nice. Looks as good today as it did yesterday. Good deal. Man, it feels good. Can't believe something that looked like it did before looks like this now. So, alright, we're going to get this thing moved out of the way and get the Lincoln over here and get to work. So, I'll bring it back in a minute. Scratching up my fresh paint right there. Not happy about that.
Yeah, because I've patched those like 5 times.
Oh, come on.
Not that piece, but yeah. And you have patches in the seat by the pockets, and I've patched those. And
I just want an excuse to video my butt.
the next time they're due to be patched, they're done, because I can darn near see through them. So just so you know,
You can see through them?
if I hold them up to the light, I can see through them. So they're on their last leg.
Get that camera off my butt.
Whatever.
I don't know how you work.
No, it's not.
Okay, we're going to start this thing so you can hear this rattle that this thing makes. This is a timing chain tensioners. Go ahead. So you heard that rattle at the beginning. That is the timing chain tensioners. They have to pump up with oil because they completely drain out, so the whole time, and the springs are apparently no good in them, so it takes it a little while to pump up. So we'll get it over there and start getting this apart. Start with the brake line. It has no brakes. It gets all the way to the floor. This right, left front brake lines blown out. And I had us a nice little wasp's nest here. I got them sprayed. I have to get it out of there. Leave them here so they keep trying to follow. There's a bee's nest up underneath the cowl too. Use that towel because the ground's still dirty over here, but you can hear a little bit of rattle here. Not much, it's just barely. But anyways, we'll get it apart and go from there. A pretty decent vehicle. It's pretty nice. Like this thing here covers the radio and stuff. It's got climate control for each side. It's got, check this out. This is a Fat Guy Delight right here. Air conditioning for the seats, heat for the seats on either side. I mean, it's got a lot of bells and whistles. It's got DVD player here. You know, that's for the dogs. Maybe they want to watch Lilo and Stitch or something. I don't know. But it's actually a pretty decent vehicle. My wife didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. The air conditioning works. Alright, I'm going to drive it over there. You know, hood open and all. Worst part about something sitting around. Pulled that air cleaner out and there's the brake lines. I don't know if you can see them. They're pretty crappy. And I think it's the one. Well, let's put it this way. There's a brake line leaking over here. Whether it's to this wheel or not, I don't know. But we're going to investigate, and I don't know. We may just end up replacing all these brake lines. I don't know. It's hard to say. But we'll start getting this apart. Start with the fan shroud here. Alright, I'm going to take this little piece of plastic out of here. They use these funky little screws. They're usually stripped out, but this one must not have been apart very much because it was alright. That gets us a little more access. Alright, so this thing's a 2005 Lincoln Navigator. It's actually in pretty decent shape. The interior's really clean. It needs tires, timing chain tensioners, and now that blown brake line, but after looking at them brake lines, I believe I'll do all 4 if we fix it. I don't know. I don't know if the repairs, the vehicles are worth doing repairs to. It's got all the rear heat and air and all the buttons for that, and navigation, DVD, all that crap, and keyless entry, and I don't know. I bought it for my wife because our dogs, you know, it's being nice leather interior. And it's 3rd row seat too. I mean, of course, like I said, you got DVD player here, and you want to make sure the dogs could watch you know, Beauty and the Beast or Lilo and Stitch or Milo and Otis or whatever their heart's desire, I guess. But she just didn't like this thing. Didn't like it from the day I brought it home, so it's a shame. Pretty nice vehicle, really. But now it's sit a couple years, and man, I just don't know if I want to do all the work to it. Maybe I'll offer it to somebody the way it is. See what somebody wants to give us for it. I think I originally gave like $7,000 or $8,000 for it back in the day, but it's a couple years ago. But I don't know. I'm gonna go grab some lunch and think on this a little bit. See how much money I got in it and see if it's worth the effort to go ahead and repair it or just send it on its way the way it is. I don't know. I'll bring you along. Alright, so I went and had lunch. Everything's better after you eat lunch. You can think so much better. I looked to see what I paid for this thing and what the values are today. And it looks like, from what I paid for it a year ago to what it is worth today, in running driving condition, I could probably break even if it was in running driving condition. Now, that being said, because I need to put about anywhere, I'm guessing at least timing chain, tensioners, brake lines, fluid, that stuff alone, I'm doing the tensioners and the VCT solenoids too, for the phasers. So all that being said, I'm gonna be about $800 right there, plus some incidental fluids and whatever, and then any Gremlins that stick their ugly head up, plus, see if that'll focus on them tires. You see that dry rot in there, those cracks? And I can't knowingly let it go like that either, so. And of course those are 18s, so those won't be cheap. It has a passenger car tire on it now, which I suppose that's what it needs so it rides nice. But so the point is, I'm gonna spend probably $1,500 to get it running and driving for the things we know it needs, and I'm gonna lose $1,500 at that point, plus any Gremlins that come up. Now, if I would sell it the way it is and don't repair anything, I believe I'm gonna lose about $2,000. So it comes down to this: do I do all the work and then see what other Gremlins come up and lose $2,000 or $1,500, or do I not do anything, put it up for sale the way it is, and lose $2,000, but I didn't spend, 2-3 days screwing around? Not to mention, I mean, doing the timing chain and all that, that's kind of enjoyable work. I'm alright with that. The brake lines, those are not so enjoyable, but still doable. But if I don't fix it and I put it up for sale the way it is, even losing $2,000 on it, the problem is, and this is very unfortunate, but let's be brutally honest here, the number of people who are willing to buy something and do the work to fix it, to create value for themselves, to have something nice but not have a lot of money invested, the number of those people is dwindling. It used to be, if I had something I didn't want to fix, I just didn't want to bother with, didn't have time, I could put it up for sale, sell it to somebody, they'd come along, they'd fix it, and next thing you know, you see them driving it around. Unfortunately, we've become a much more lazy nation, apparently. The number of people willing to do the work is really dwindling. Now, this thing only has 123 or 124,000 on it. I just checked it, so it's got a lot of life left, but I don't know. I would much rather sell something running and driving than I would not, because when it's running and driving, everybody knows that what works and what doesn't. So that being said, let's get the wheels off and let's see what we can find. Alright, so I pulled the inner fender out to give me a little more room to work and a little bit more light. It only took just a second, but you can see all the brake lines running down here, so let me show you what that is. So they come down in this area. There's the place that was originally leaking, I think, but I touched it back here. You can see this dripping, and it's broke back there now, but we're going to replace all this. But it comes back so far, and it goes to, I don't know if this is a stainless steel line, but it's definitely a protected line of some sort. Now, I imagine I'm going to get this apart right here and find this is a flare fitting, and this is going to be a bubble flare is what I need, and this is going to be a regular flare, so it makes its own union. So now a trick I use here is I don't try and put 2 line wrenches on there. I think that's pointless. I cut the line, that way I only have to use 1 line wrench, and then I'll use a socket on the line that I'm replacing right here. I'll put a 6-point socket on that. Makes it easier. Then I'll pull the whole line out and make the new line, and then fish it in here and put it back together. So let me get it out. So you can see what I'm talking about here. I just put a line wrench on it and put a 6-point socket, hold them tight. I already broke this loose, by the way. It just makes it so much easier. Now what I expect to see here on this one is going to be a bubble flare on this end. Exactly what we expected to see was an inverted bubble, a bubble flare as you might call it. So I'll get this knocked out, drill that out, and we will start making our line. Here is the whole entire line. This is the way I like to do it. I take the whole line out, the whole length, from start to beginning, yeah. How about start to end? And then I'll remake this line, and then I'll put it back in the vehicle. This makes it a little bit easier, I think. I don't know. Maybe there's a better way, but then you don't have to worry about trying to flare your lines underneath the vehicle. So let me get everything set up. I'll bring you back. All right, so this is the one I'm working on right now. I got it cut off. Now, before I take that off, I don't want that rust getting down the ABS unit. So each time I'm going to take one of these out of here, I'm going to do that same thing. And be careful not to knock any more rust loose. Alright, so you see that's a bubble flare. Okay, it's not a regular inverted flare. So when I go to make this, because I'm going to make these, I'll show you what I use to really use slick little tool. So I got the one out, I got the rest of the line out, I cut the other end, and to get this out, I will just put this in the vise and I'll just drill this line out. This is a 3/16 line. I'll take a 3/16 drill bit, go down through and just drill the whole thing out and take it on the wire wheel, clean it up real good, and I will reuse this. Alright, let me get the other one out. Okay, so I use this epoxy coated line from Napa. It lasts a little bit longer. There's something out that's pretty common around here. It's called SUR&R is the name of the company. And they make a nickel copper blend that's very, very easy to bend. I just don't use it. It's pretty soft. I like this Napa stuff. It's not too horribly hard to bend. So I get it all bent up to what I need, and then I bring it over to the bench vise again. Of course, I should have done this ahead of time. It's about impossible to open the vise. I usually use the line nut, and I'll stick it in the vise to hold it, and then I'll go to this tool. This is a pretty common tool. It's been around for quite a while now. I've had this one for about 4 years, something like that. It's made by Master Cool. It's a universal hydraulic line maker, and I keep extra ferrules and fittings in here. I keep in a Ziploc bag because sometimes this stuff draws moisture. I can tell who used it last. It's all dirty. That'd be my son, by the way. Anyways, so you get dies and you get the tool, and basically what you do is you're setting up your own flare. It'll make the flare on there. So let me get it set up and I'll show you how it works. Because basically what we're doing is, let me see if I can find it. I haven't used this in a couple days. Alright, so here's a 3/16 die. You're going to put it in there, and you can see that it makes the bottom side of the flare. sure it does. There you go. So there's the back side of the flare, what goes up against the line nut. And then we're going to use the bubble flare attachment. Oops, the wrong one. Here's 3/16. Here's a 3/16 attachment, and you see it makes the opposite side. These do get cruddy from having a little brake fluid get on them and stuff like that, but nothing the wire wheel won't clean up. You see how that's got some crud down in there. I'm gonna clean that up real quick before I use it, because I don't want to have a misformed bubble. So hang on. Yeah, nothing a wire wheel can't fix. All right, I'll get it set up in the die. I'll show you what we're doing. So we have the line, and it's crimped to hold it fast in between them two dies. And you bring the steel tubing just slightly above your die, and then when you go to put it in, you line up that pin to go in the line. Okay, let me get that set up a little closer. I'll bring it back. Explain why I started doing this. I think you're going to get this already. I started holding the line with that the flare nut so that I don't forget to put it on, because I've done this several times, and I'm sure other guys have. I got it all. You just line this up and you twist it all down, and then you tighten up the hydraulic cylinder and you pump it. As you can imagine, this is really weird this way. Give it a good pump. I like to let it sit for just a second. Probably not necessary, but you see how it released right there. And then you just unthread this. And what you'll be left with is hopefully a good bubble flare. Alright, so one thing worth noting is you want to take on the wire wheel and get that coating off, because if you don't, it won't let your nut go clear up. And this is not going well, but you can't see it real well, but otherwise it won't let this thing seat. So you gotta make sure you get that off there real good. And now this one's ready to go back in. There's the first line bent. Of course, it'll need a little bit of tweaking going in, but it'll be close. So now I'm going to take a little black tape, cover this hole so I don't get any crap in it, and hold my fitting where it belongs, because this is the end. I got to fish all the way down underneath the car. So let me tape that up and I'll fish it in. Alright, that's the first one in. That one took me about an hour. Probably a little longer than I would have liked it to have taken, but getting it fished up through all this around everything without screwing up my bends was a little more difficult than I'd hoped. But it's in, and I got the other one out, so we're now gonna make the next one. Alright, so this is the next one. Just about the same length, about the same amount of bends, so probably about another hour I'll have this one bent and put in place. And then the real chore, try to get them back bleeders loose. You know, this is kind of a budget conscious deal here, because if I start replacing crap because it breaks, like trying to get the bleeders loose, I mean, I will be so deep in this thing. You know, I'll be looking at losing $1,500 in the rearview mirror, so I'm going to be careful. But a friend of mine, I talked to him, he may have a set of 18-inch tires he took off of his. He has a Navigator also, and he thinks he still has a good set of tires of good tread. I mean, there's just nothing left of these, and I don't want it like that, and I certainly don't want to sell it to somebody like that. So anyways, let's get to work. I'll bring you back when I got the next one ready. Well, I got 2 down and 2 to go, so the long ones are done. Now I'm going to get on the left front. You know, this is a budget deal here, because I don't have a lot of money to spend on this, because I'm already going to lose money. So this is the epoxy coated brake line. This is standard brake line that I had. I have enough of this standard brake line to do probably the rest of it. I thought I had more of this. This is my preference. That's what I mean. This is my preference here, but I wish I'd known I didn't have as much as I thought I did,
because I would have started with the regular brake line, used all that up first, and it all would have been the same. But I'm not going to take that back out. That would be foolish. So this one here is the left front. I'm going to do that one next, and it's a fairly short one. Should be pretty easy. I always do the two. If I'm going to do them all, I do the hardest ones first, because that way by the time I get to the easy ones, it feels like you've accomplished something, whether you have or you haven't. Guess it doesn't matter. But anyways, let me get on these. I'll get the next one done. Yeah, we're finally done. Just got to bleed them all out. And the unfortunate thing is, I don't have any more brake fluid. I filled up the reservoir, but for some reason I'm out. I mean, you're usually not out of stuff unless you use it, but I don't remember using that up. But stranger things have happened, I guess. So we'll get some more brake fluid and bleed it out real quick. Okay, alright guys, it is about 6:30. It's still pretty hot out. It's 80, 86, somewhere around there, with high humidity, and we've had a pretty good day. All the brake lines are done. They're all in place. Everything's bled and no leaks. So I'm very thankful for that. It worked out very well. That tool really works pretty good. And let's see, that's all back together. I was able to check the brakes, and it actually has good brake pads and good rotors. So that's really good. The power steering wasn't working. So I went to go fill it up, and fearful, of course, and number one gremlin. That oil dries for the power steering fluid, because you put fluid in it, it doesn't like it, it spits it back out. Must have been the wrong flavor, I don't know. So that's gremlin number one. It's the pressure hose on the bottom side of the power steering pump has rusted through and it's leaking. Number two gremlin so far is this goofy positive battery end. I don't like it. It's really a weird setup. It's a cone shape underneath this, and when you tighten it up, it's supposed to shove this over and squeeze this tighter. Well, it doesn't work, so we're going to manufacture something to work. We're going to take this all apart, do away with the stud, and this part right here is part of this, so it has a stud on it. So we're going to drill that stud out to a 3/8 hole, and then we will go to a traditional clamp on here with a stud, and we should be able to do that fairly simple. We are, at the very least, we're going to do the timing chain tensioners, possibly chains, phasers, guides, and VCT solenoids. The cam phaser hydraulic controllers is what they are. That's the very least we're going to do is the tensioners, because that's what's wrong. We'll see what it looks like, because the reason I think we need to do it all is, when I first got this thing, you could come off the highway, and it ran great on the highway, and you'd come off the on-ramp, and it would hug and chug and carry on until it stalled. You could shut it off, start it back up, and it was fine, like it went back to base timing. I think the VCT solenoids are sticking, because that's a pretty common problem for them. So if we're going to take the valve covers out, we're just going to change them anyways. I think I can get them for about 50 bucks a pair for both of them, so it's not horribly expensive. And I was trying to think, I thought there was something else I ran into, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, so far, and I think the battery is going to be junk. I've had it on charge and on a slow charge, and it doesn't want to seem to come back to life. So I don't know what we'll do with that. We may have to put a battery in it too. So, just like I was thinking, you get something like this, the Gremlins show their ugly heads, and the numbers just keep going and going and going until you're like, you have $10,000 in a $8,000 vehicle, or $6,000, whatever this thing really is worth, and when I'm finished, that's for sure. But it is what it is. It's not worth anything sitting around the driveway. So we're gonna get it fixed and get her sold, let somebody else put it to use, and hopefully it'll be a good vehicle for them, and we're gonna do the best we can to make it the best it can be. So with that, it's a long, hard day. I'm tired. I'm going to stick a fork in this for now. If you guys like what we're doing, give us these thumbs up. I can't stress it enough how much that means to us. And leave your comments down below. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And hopefully the next one you'll see is us tearing the engine down, and we'll see what it looks like inside there and see what all is going on, making that racket. Alright guys, we'll catch you on the next one.